Today, we're going to be talking about the podcast. Welcome back to How to Be a Better DM. I'm your host, Justin Lewis, and this is the show for any dungeon master who's ever watched Critical Role and thought, I can do that. We want to help you shorten the learning curve without spending all your time, money, or relationships to make that happen. And I've been doing this for over 3 years now, and today's episode is kind of a special one. It is unique because, for one, I've been kind of MIA for a while, but also today I'm going to be talking about the future. And I want to give you an idea of what's going to happen next. And before you get all doom and gloom and think about this, just let me tell you, buckle up and hold on. Listen to today's episode and you'll see. So first thing I want to say is that the podcast is going to continue, but it is going to look slightly different. You can probably hear the difference in quality in this episode compared to other episodes, or at least hopefully. Maybe this sounds exactly the same, in which case totally fine, but in previous episodes, we've tried to be a little bit more polished, have better recording quality, better notes, even a script, right? And starting today, we are scaling back everything associated with Session Zero Studios and How to Be a Better DM, except weekly podcast episodes that are no more than 10 minutes long. I literally have a timer set right now. And occasional threads posts, as well as convention panels and things like that. We're not gonna be doing any email marketing. We're gonna keep the Discord up, but we're not really gonna do anything on it. In terms of professional DMing, we're going to keep ourselves open and available to that, but we're not going to market that. We are going to basically just scale back to the very bare bones, bare minimum. And even with the podcast episodes, we are not going to edit them. We are going to record them, put them up, and sort of just do that. And so I told you what is going to happen. Now let me tell you why. So, for those of you who don't know, my wife was expecting a child, actually on the 19th of July. So, as of this recording, 2 days from now, 3 days, I think, actually. Sorry, no, it was the 17th. It was supposed to be tomorrow. So, the day this episode comes out is the day that my baby was supposed to be born. For those of you who didn't know, the baby actually came 6 weeks early. And prior to the baby being born, we didn't tell many people this, but the early sonograms and echocardiograms revealed some probable health issues with the baby. Luckily for us, nothing actually materialized other than one of the things that was told to us. The baby only has one kidney, which we knew, but there was also some suspected heart issues that we were preparing for, and then the baby came early. It was a preemie, and they did tests, no heart issues, but the baby has been in the NICU, essentially, for the last 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks almost. And because of that, obviously, we have another kid. We've sort of been splitting our time between the hospital and home with our child. I've been on paternity leave from my day job, and really, not to mention, so the baby was born, and then a week later, we actually moved. So almost like overnight, it feels like our entire lives were sort of shifted. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything that I was doing previously. And this made me really think about my life and my family's life. For the last few years, we've been living in my in-laws' basement. My wife doesn't work, and I like it that way, right? I want to be able to provide. If she wanted to work, I'd love to facilitate that, but we've decided that she is going to be a stay-at-home mom. I work at home, so I'm very available, but our finances are not providing a future for us. And frankly, I'm making this decision to focus less on the podcast and focus on other things because of my family. I need to be able to provide a future for them. And the podcast, unfortunately, isn't there yet. Now, I love doing the podcast, and I said I will never stop. That was probably a little naive. Honestly, we got very close to stopping, but then I just decided I want to just do these sort of 10-minute, very raw episodes. It's not going to be polished. It's not going to be professional, but it's still going to be the podcast, and hopefully you enjoy it. I just want to say thank you for everyone that's been on this journey with us. There's been lots and lots of ups and downs, and thank you for the ups and thank you for the downs, right? The lessons learned. So what you can expect going forward is just podcast episodes on a weekly basis. Tanner's going to stick on, though he will have some announcements of his own as why he's sort of agreeing to do this shift. And we didn't do this lightly, right? I love this podcast. I love it probably too much, to be honest. But frankly, I love my family more, and I feel like in the last few years, I haven't been loving them as well as I should have been. So this is me taking a step back from the podcast a little bit to try and, make some sort of a future for my family where we are self-sustaining, living by ourselves, and just kind of having a, living our American dream. And honestly, I feel like I've been somewhat selfish. Anyways, I know today's episode is probably not what you expect, but it is what it is. I just want to say thanks again for listening to these shows. If you do still want to support us, keep listening to the show, keep tuning in, get active on the Discord, right? We may not be there, but, we might. If you do want to support us financially, the Patreon is still there, but we're probably not going to put anything on there in terms of new content. So I would just, it would sort of be just supporting us because you like the podcast. And obviously the hope is that this is short term, right? The hope is that this only lasts a few years or so while we get a better financial standing and we build a better future for my family. But at the end of the day, I love D&D. I love being a dungeon master. I love doing podcasting and content creation. But this is a hobby, primarily because it's not taking care of my family. And I needed to treat it as such. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for listening. And surprising me. I never thought that I would actually make as much progress as we've made. And these last few weeks have been really tough. In more ways than one. And a big part of that toughness has been me contemplating this shift. So just want to say thank you. Thank you to every one of you who's ever reached out and said thank you to me, because you've made it very much worth it. So this isn't goodbye. Like I said, this is just a shift. And who knows what the future will hold, right? I still love doing this. I still love thinking about this. And it's just going to be a little bit less hands-on for the time being. So just want to say thanks so much. Today episode, not exactly probably what you thought. Next week, we'll get back to just talking about good old-fashioned dungeon mastering. And I sincerely wish you and yours the absolute best. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of yourselves. I was driving, I'll tell you this real quick. I was driving to Costco with my son just the other day, just yesterday, actually. And on the way, we passed a cemetery, and it just so happened that there was an actual funeral in progress. There was a graveside service, and we saw that. There was a whole easel, a lot of people there, lots of chairs and things, and I could see from afar even that they were grieving. We went to Costco for about an hour and a half-ish, and then we drove home through the same route, passed by the same graveyard, and the casket was gone, the crowd was gone, there was only a truck there, and some workers kind of having dismantled basically the awning and everything, and all traces of this funeral were gone. And it was just such a poignant reminder to me of how important but quick life can be, and how valuable it is to spend it doing the things that matter the most. So I would just encourage you. We'll be back next time with another handcrafted episode, a little bit more raw, a little less refined, but the same quality, hopefully. And until then, I wish you the best. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and spend time on what really matters. And until then, let's go ahead and roll initiative. Brought to you by Session Zero Studios. For more information, visit sessionzerostudios.com. I made a monster with a challenge rating of 100. Why? Because I could. And it only took me 5 minutes using Worldsmith. And the best part? You can do this and much more. Get a free 7-day trial at sessionzerostudios.com/worldsmith and unlock their full suite of TTRPG generators. Yep, that's a full 7-day trial completely free. That's a whole week of monsters, magic items, and more. Whatever you need, zero burnout. Try it now at sessionzerostudios.com/worldsmith. Save time and make unlimited creations with Worldsmith.